So cantaloupe and cucumber are also in season right now. They're warm weather crops, so they're also great to have. Right now, we're going to hand out some of it to everyone, so you guys can all try it. The feta's on top. We do have more available if someone doesn't want the feta. But for right now, we'll just go ahead and teach you how to do some things. So first thing when you're getting in the kitchen to start is you want to take off any of the jewelry. You don't want anything dangling, especially watches. I don't want to break my watch, but it's important that you don't put any physical hazards into your food. You don't want an earring to drop in the food. You don't want to chew on that. You don't want a piece of the watch to break off. Who knows? But you want to make sure you remove all of that. And you get to your hands. I roll up my sleeves, so I don't want to get anything from my shirt as well. And then the next thing is to wash your hands. So I'm going to wash my hands real quick, just like you're supposed to. You want to make sure that when you are washing your hands, you leave the water running until you're done drying your hands. And then you will use the towel that you're using to turn off the faucet. That way you're not getting any chemicals or any bacteria from the faucet that you were using. Do this like this. Notice it's still on. I'm going to dry my hands. Might seem a little nouveau or a little weird, but it's what you got to do to make sure everything's working well. So we throw this out. And of course we use gloves. At home, typically people don't use gloves. You know, the food's for you, but right now this is not typically what everyone's going to be eating. We have a separate made here, and the water always makes the gloves difficult to get on. So that's why I'm kind of talking until I can get the gloves on. But yeah, so like I said, you guys have the recipe card there. It's a very quick recipe. It took me a couple minutes to make, minus the fact that I had to make almost 4 times what you guys had there, so it was a little difficult at first. But I just want to go over a couple things with the cantaloupe specifically. So how do you know if a cantaloupe is ripe? Typically they're hard because you can't really see, you can't really feel, they kind of keep the same amount. So when you're taking the cantaloupe, there's one side that looks like it was connected to a stem or a root. Don't worry about that side. The other side, where the flower comes in, if you smell it, it'll be sweet with a little bit of musky. That's when you know it's almost good. Sometimes I like to wait. Sometimes if they get really ripe, you can shake and you can hear the seeds in there. But we'll go through how to cut that, because a lot of times you want to make sure that you have the right hands. You want to make sure all your hands are out of the way. So the first thing is you want to hold this a little bit closer, the knife. You want to hold it a little bit closer. You don't want to hold it far back here. You have a little bit more control right there, obviously. And you're going to cut from the top down, just like that. Hopefully it's not going to run. And you see we've got the inside. This one's pretty ripe. These are all very ripe, very good. You want to scoop out the insides. You don't want to eat the seeds. And this is where you pretty much can tell if it's ripe. If I'm pretty much digging into the cantaloupe itself, we know it's a little bit ripe. So this part, we like to make sure that everyone's a little careful. So you always turn the flat side down, so you're cutting with this flat side on the bottom, so that way it's not moving around on you. And you cut straight down. I like to put it back together, and then you can cut the corner, and then you can do it on the other side as well. And you cut the corner. Now you've got the 4 corners or the 4 little sections that everyone's used to seeing, and they're all cut up. So another easy way to do this, to kind of get the accurate thing, is I use a little sharp knife, and you kind of cut 1/2 this way. Then you move it and turn it the other way, because you don't want to cut your finger. Real easy. And then you simply just cut like this. And now you've got something you can even serve the cantaloupe on. Real easy, real simple. A way to keep your hands out of the way so you don't hurt yourself, because cantaloupe is a bigger vegetable. The next is a cucumber. So everyone can pretty much cut a cucumber. It's kind of easy. But specifically for this recipe, to get that cucumber really small, you want to make sure you're cutting the ends off, because we don't want the ends. You cut it. I'm going to use a bigger knife. You're going to cut it in half. You want to make sure you're taking your time and being careful, because it's a little round. You're going to put the flat sides down. Again, we don't want that to move around on us. You're going to cut it again this way and that way. When you turn it back to you like this, you want to keep your knuckles out of the way. Don't stick any of your fingers out. And you're going to hold it like this and cut a little bit like this. That way your knuckles, fingers are out of the way. I may not even have to look if I can feel the knife. Then you cut it completely, and then you're ready to go. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Again, we're just reminding people to keep their hands out of the way, keep everything there. We can put the items in there. And next is an onion. So again, everyone's familiar with the onion. The first thing I like to do is cut it in half. Again, we want to make sure we're cutting it with a flat side down. Then we can cut the ends off. Pretty simple. Now obviously it has that skin on that we don't want to eat, so you want to peel it back. And sometimes when you get the skin off, even if you get the skin off, there might be one layer that's a little weird. It might still be a little funky. So you just want to take that extra layer off as well. So the biggest thing to do, kind of with the knuckles again, is you're going to just cut it like this. You can bring your finger over to hold this piece so it doesn't fall, or you can let it drop. You just want to make sure you're being safe. And then the same thing. When you cut it like this, you kind of get the nice little shapes there, and then easy, you just cut it again with the knuckles. And when you get that last little section, you can tip it over so that way you don't have to worry about getting too close. And then you cut the last little pieces. That all goes in, and you're all set. So just some helpful reminders. We also have the lemon. So lemon has pits in it. You don't want to just squeeze the lemon in that thing. I prefer to use a strainer. So I'll squeeze the lemon in the strainer so that way in case anything extra comes out, it catches the seeds. And then you've got the lemon, which is also in the in that thing. So the last thing, or before we put the onions in, we like to remind people that if that oniony bite, the raw oniony, if it's a little too bitey, a little too harsh, what you can do is you can rinse the onions off in this colander. So you can put them in there, you can rinse them off just like you would with like a can of beans or any other kind of vegetable, or you can let them soak in the water. Letting them soak in the water will take more of that bite out, but it's just a way to kind of make them not so dramatic in a recipe, especially one like this with fruit and much softer flavored things. That way it doesn't overpower the dish. But other than that, that's all I've got. Thank you guys for coming today. So I see some familiar faces from the Life Center and the Senior U, so thank you guys as well for coming out. We have one more of these summer sessions. We have the paper up here. That one's going to be meal prepping, so it's healthy school lunches, but it's not just for children or school lunches, it's also for adults. So we also, if you guys want to register for that, you can call the Access Center, and their phone number is 888-569-1000. They'll help you get registered, and if you need anything else, anything other through AtlantiCare, you can always give them a call. They can help you get directed to exactly where you need to go at the right time. So other than that, I hope to see some of you guys at our next summer series. That's going to be August 23rd at 1 o'clock. That's a Friday. But yeah, enjoy, and feel free to ask some questions. Melissa's back there. She can help you with any questions, and I'll be up here hanging around as well. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.